Good morning, dear colleagues. Good morning. I bring you greetings from the giant of Africa, Nigeria. So my name is Dr. Lynn Bassi. I'm the Special Assistant to His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the former Vice President of Nigeria. So we know that Nigeria usually has a very unique experience when it comes to our general elections. But since the NSAS, our elections have taken a tougher route, a very delicate and tougher route. So I happened to come into the politics in 2019, and I got enrolled in the PDP. The PDP had just had the elections where President Buhari had won against the PDP, that's the APC against the PDP, and then we're planning for the 2023 that we just had. So I'll just try to give a brief of my experience, because I understand that if we're talking about democracy in Africa, the youth really need to understand the wholesomeness of democracy. In Nigeria, I think, the youth began to understand that we can speak for our rights and we can demand for democratic leaders. And that was why we had the NSAS in 2020. But coming through the election period, Nigeria being a heterogeneous society, we had a huge divide. And we had people cut across cultural lines. We also had people cut across regional lines. So Nigeria is a population of over 200 million, like we know. We have 36 states and governors who govern those states. We have 774 local governments, and we have local government chairmen who are in charge of these local governments. We also have 176,846 polling units, and these are the bases with which our democracy is truly explained. But in the last election, we talked about how democracy is being truncated for the youth when it's being monetized. Nigeria faced a lot of that, and we had failures from the IREF, where, from 2022, there was a lot of noise about the INEC ensuring that democracy takes place, ensuring that our votes count, ensuring that it's documented and it's on the time voting and counting. But that wasn't the case at the end of the day. Right, before this election cycle, a lot of persons went online, social media space, on Twitter, then now X, Instagram, all of the social media handles, talking about get your PVC, Operation Get Your PVC. And we had young persons who didn't vote in the last cycle go to register and they got their PVCs. So our party men voluntarily, set out to ensure that they fly the party's flag by making Nigerians now cut across all parties, saying, even if you're not in a party, even if you're not in politics, even if you're not in PDP, as a Nigerian, Operation Get Your PVC. And that was widely done because we find out that over 35% increments in the voting strength as compared to the last general elections. The use of digital platform. In Nigeria, the use of digital platform was done majorly the negative way. The social media platform is meant to project who your candidate is and what they can prefer to the community or the society. But in Nigeria, we had people who were hitting on the PDP presidential candidates, pushing out stereotypes, pushing out propagandas, that are not true, and they're not founded, just so that they can sway more of the voters the other way. But our youth in the PDP were constantly online pushing out the things that our presidential candidate had done when he was vice president in 2007. All his economic values and laws, all his inputs, and how he boosted the Nigerian economy. So the youth in the PDP were constantly online, not bantering, but putting forward the activities and what we have as prospective bait of our presidential candidate, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar. So what works for us is the fact that you don't go to war and just expect a victor and a vanquished situation. Because sometimes when you come back with a vanquished situation, you can't stand to fight another day. So, but what works for us is in the fact that we obtained our principles, we stood with our shoulders high, we fought to the last, even to the justice system, and we're still standing our ground. And what is working for us is the tenet of the party PDP, where there is no stopping towards when you're working, the work goes on and on. Because as we speak right now, our next presidential elections will be in 2027, but we already have started working as at 2024. Because after the first 100 days of an incompetent president, we begin to ask ourselves questions. Is this part of our blueprint? Is this where we want to go as a nation? And then after the first official year, we kick off, to start working towards what we call democracy. How do I feel? Am I heard as a youth? I am heard as a youth in my party in Nigeria, because I can say we have the orientation that the older persons don't want us to get in there. But I feel that with what I've experienced in the PDP in Nigeria, they want us to get there when we are rock solid. So the PDP in Nigeria didn't have to say that Limbasi has to be in the politics for 10, 20 years before she can be an appointee to the former vice president. But they could say that Limbasi has a rock solid foundation or something to bring to the table, and that's why she's here. So I would say I have begun a legion of youth followers, females, males, around my age bracket, to work towards democracy, and we're doing so in the PDP. And come 2027, by the grace of God, we're going to truly bring through to Africa what democracy is without the violence, without the monetization, and with peace. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we come to the end of that session, and colleagues, those who haven't represented their report, please send your report to the WIDUA email. I now invite Mr. Buki to continue the program.
Examining our youth reports. Next is strategic plan. So please allow me to invite our President Kiria to present before us the Young Doer strategic plan. Kiria, please, you're welcome.
Mbogi, requesting Paso to give me one copy of the strategic plan. So this is our strategic plan 2023-2025, and just like I had given my opening remarks, we need to go away from a WIDUA characterized by conferences, good activities which we think that actually can help us as the young people and also can directly benefit our mother parties. But before I present, as we embark on this exciting journey, I am honored to introduce the Young Democratic Union of Africa's Strategic Plan 2023-2025. This roadmap outlines our commitment to empowering young African leaders who subscribe to the center-right philosophy and ideologies, promoting democratic values and shaping the future of our great continent. Over the next 2 years, we will work tirelessly to foster a culture of inclusivity and diversity, amplify the voices of young Africans in the political decision-making processes, build capacity and leadership skills among our members, promote entrepreneurship, innovation, and economic growth, strengthen partnerships and collaborations across Africa and globally. This strategic plan is a treatment to the dedication and passion of our members, who are driving force behind WIDUA's success. Together, let us shape a brighter future for Africa and create a platform where young people can thrive. We therefore want to appeal to our partners, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, to help us achieve this implementation of this strategic plan. As the board, we did our part by drafting a document with activities which guide us in these 2 years. And I want to thank all the members of the WIDUA board and the entire membership of the platform who contributed to this strategic plan. However, to achieve a united and popular Waidua, we need extra efforts to achieve it. The strategic plan is filled with a lot of activities, and they are all aimed at strengthening, popularizing, and uniting Waidua. Lastly, we do request CAS to increase more funds to Waidua to realize its 2-year strategic plan. On this note, when you look at this strategic plan, we have the activity, the period, the objective, responsibility, and status. It's coming from 2023. The first activity is the space on X on Liberia elections, whereby we shall be having every Twitter space every month. So this is an activity which you think that actually every month we need to have an X space to try to address some of the available challenges in the continent. But at least we finished this in 2023. Activity 2, Twitter space about Mozambique. It was pending because of some issues, some related issues where Renamo, we needed actually some information from Renamo and we didn't get it. The other activity is collecting database of Waidua members in their respective blocks. I think we need now to realize who are our members. We had members since 2019, but you can't trace them. Where are they? Who are they? So we need now to come up with a database, and this is ongoing. So the SG is in charge of that activity. Activity 4, we need to write to Waidua and CAS introducing our approved constitution and strategic plan. Ladies and gentlemen, we had some issues in Addis Ababa because the constitution has not yet been formalized. But I think it is now high time to inform DOA and also IDU that now we have now a breathing and living document which can guide us as Waidua. So the souvenir magazine which you are having, it is having that constitution. So we want to empower each and every member of Waidua to go and read the constitution so that we can understand it fully, so that when we are doing any activity, we refer to our constitution in that line. Then 2024, these are the activities. We have an activity of benchmarking on member party in Liberia and other possible countries. Ladies and gentlemen, I've just seen some other countries where center-right political parties are, and actually some of them are presidents. So we need actually to benchmark more so in Liberia. How do they do it to win election? In NPP, how do they do it to win elections when they were in opposition? Because we need more party members. We need more parties to be in government because of some needs. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I think we need actually, this goes actually to Chairman McMahon. We need actually to have a device or an initiative to bring together all political parties in power, so that in case there is an election in another country whereby a member country is involved in that election, these political parties should come out to support a particular political party. But in most cases, the socialists actually do it. They are very united in that. Then other ideologies actually do it. But for us center-right political parties, when it is in Namibia, we think that actually it is about Namibia. When it is in Ghana, for us we think actually it is about NPP. When it is Mozambique, we think that actually it is about Renamo. So we think now we need actually to come up with a strategy so that when there is election in another country where a member political party is participating in that election, these member parties or political parties should come out and also try to help that political party as far as winning elections is concerned. So we need actually benchmarking, and I think we need actually to see how best we can handle this with CAS. Activity 6 about the annual conference. This is always like now this one, and I think we have done this. It has been pending, but I think now, right now, it is all going on. And just like I told you yesterday, I think just like unlike other conferences, this year we can even determine where do we want our next annual conference for 2025, so that we can go out of this room when we are very clear about it. Activity 7, inter-regional trainings for WIDOA members between their respective blocks. Members, the objective is to empower WIDOA members at a regional level through a purposeful exchange mechanism between regional blocks. This dynamic initiative seeks to not only strengthen inter-party. So this one, we think we are proposing that if we can have some regional trainings, for example, if we get political parties of center-right in East Africa, we say we are going to have a training in East Africa, West Africa, South Africa. So we get member political parties to get at least to identify for us either two youth league members, and we identify a country, we collaborate with the political parties there so that we can have a training to these members so that actually the benefit can actually go down. Mr. Dix, we have a challenge, more so in my political party. CAS has really invested a lot in us, and actually we do appreciate. But the challenge which we are having is that actually for us, the young people, we are more knowledgeable about the ideology more than actually our leaders or the superiors. You can actually try to explain the center-right ideology very well, but they cannot actually try to relate between how the center-right ideology can work in the policy of health, in the policy of education, and so on. So I think we now since we are the one now being trained to take up the leadership, we need also now to get actually these trainings to these young leaders who are coming. It is very embarrassing for a leader to represent a political party when he or she cannot really relate with the party ideology. So I think we need also to embark on this. If he needs actually to fundraise, we shall see how best we can fundraise about that. But we need the regional block training so that South Africa, West Africa, East Africa, we can have these at an annual basis. Activity 8, we need to visit the youth leagues of member political parties. Visiting youth leagues of member political parties, in most cases when we are here, we are not understanding what is in DP Uganda. But when I come here, I can give you a picture which I think actually suits your understanding. When we are here, we may not understand what is happening in Renamo, in Mozambique. But when the participant comes here, he or she will give us a perspective or a picture which suits our understanding or speaks what we want to understand. So as a board, we are appealing to CAS to have at least some kind of visit to this youth league so that we can interact with them to understand what exactly is there and also how best we can help each other as far as youth leagues is concerned. Then, without wasting time, so those are this is the strategic plan which we hope that actually it will work, and it may not necessarily work in our term of office, but it can even follow after when we have left office. So in that regard, therefore, I want actually to take this opportunity to launch this strategic plan amidst our founder and also Chairman McManu, because he's actually a very great pillar in IDU. We need actually also to take some notes there that actually WIDOA is no longer the other body which moves by wind, but at least we have a guiding principle and plan for the strategic year plan. So on that note, I'm calling upon Dr. Dix and Chairman McManu, then the board, to come here and officially we launch the strategic plan for 2023-2025. We want to take this opportunity as the WIDOA board 2023-2025 to officially launch our strategic plan and request all the members
to be part of this strategic plan of 2023-2025 so that we can have a breathing and living Waidua. Thank you so much. Thank you as the board. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Asante sana. The strategic plan. Now allow me to receive questions and comments on the strategic plan before moving to the other session, that is allocation of members to the committee. So at least for a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, let us receive the comment and question. Augusta?
For the strategic plan, thank you to you and different members of the board. But my first concern is, before launching the strategic plan, I think it should have been put to the ballot for discussion. So after you have launched, we cannot come back to adopt anything because this plan has already been launched. At least it should have been discussed, approved before launch. That is my first concern. So I don't know whether we are still going to go back to take different comments around the room since this plan has been launched. Because if something is launched, it shows that it is a working tool already for this institution. So that's my concern. Whether we still taking comment, come back after it has been launched. Is this document still open to addition, subtractions, and different concerns? I hope we are taking that into consideration. And I see it on the 2021 activities. Number 5, the benchmark member party to Liberia and other possible country. These actually want to get small clarity on what you mean by benchmark to other member parties in Liberia. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Et je disais tantôt que moi je vais pas porter trop de critiques au plan d'action. Je respecte ce que ma consoeur du Libéria a dit, c'est très pertinent. Sauf que ce plan se présente comme si c'était mon programme de campagne que je préparais pour les élections de l'année dernière, que je n'y étais pas. Donc je tiens à tirer un coup de chapeau à ceux qui l'ont produit. C'est vraiment waouh. Merci beaucoup, félicitations. Et là où je veux apporter quelque chose, c'est par rapport aux visites des jeunes des partis politiques d'autres pays qui me tiennent à cœur. C'est très important parce que la dépense que CAS fait pour que je vienne ici, c'est énorme. Et ma seule dépense peut suffire pour organiser comment appelle-t-on, une journée d'activité avec les jeunes de mon parti qui vont pleinement profiter de ça. Donc ça me tient à cœur. Je pense que si la fondation peut nous aider en ce sens, ce serait très bien. Une journée, ne serait-ce qu'au Togo, pour les Togolais, les jeunes du parti, avec les dépenses qu'ils ont fait pour moi, en une journée, on peut discuter avec 50 jeunes de mon parti. Ce serait très waouh, génial. Merci beaucoup une fois encore, chapeau à vous. Je pense être candidat en 2025 pour que si le programme n'est pas terminé, pour voir ce que je peux faire également avec ça, par rapport à ça. C'est un plan stratégique qu'on peut adopter sur une longue durée d'ailleurs. Merci.
Persistence is the vehicle you arrive in. Being said that, I think we have to be aware of our limitations. And so I would suggest that we should be looking for more virtual activities. So taking into account the new technologies, Zoom meetings, lives on Facebook, spaces on X or Twitter, as you suggested on your strategic plan, but I think we have to bring more of that so we have a Waidua more active, is my suggestion. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for this professional plan. My concern is about the point 8, okay? Talking about visiting of youth leagues or political parties, okay? Talking about that, what are some activities that you are planning to do when you are in a given country for this thing planned? What are some activities? Because when we will be back home, we will also be able to try to talk to our political members, and so that we will be expecting what you will do when you will be in our country. Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate your strategy. And thank you for making it open to scrutiny and any addendums. To add to what my sister, Augusta from West Africa, has said, I think it's because we're not here last year, so we feel that the West African bloc didn't have any major input. So I think errors on our part and your part and the part of the embassies. But let's make room for us in this 1 year to duly impact in your government, I'll say that. And I also like to just throw this open to every one of us. Like, we're making policies, we're making suggestions. Let's try to not be political. Yes, we can go and run elections as politicians, but in this room, because we're trying to bring to our countries the things that should be done right in the politics, let's not be political. Let's bring to the table, like Dr. Dick said the other day, the arguments, so that the people who we want to follow us will see us for the right cause, not for the personal interests. Thank you.
I expected that this will give us some comments, especially on the items from 1 to 7, because the timeline indicates that up to June, and this is June. Unfortunately, I'm just seeing pending. I expected that is to have something significant there. So I don't know if there would be any explanation on that. Thank you.
Queria cá trazer uma pequena sugestão dentro do plano. Primeiro, felicitar a elaboração desse plano estratégico. Ele parece ótimo. Vejo que tem atividade, tem período, objetivo, responsabilidade e o Estado. Além do Estado, também gostaria que tivesse observações, que nos trouxesse o porquê que uma atividade foi feita e como é que foi feita, quais são os sucessos e insucessos que tiveram dentro dessa atividade. E se não foi feita, também estar justificado por que não foi feito. Porque temos aqui algumas atividades de 2023, algumas, e não está bem claro o estado delas, se foi realizado, como é que foi realizado, qual foi o sucesso, qual foi o insucesso. E talvez deixar ficar também aqui uma pequena sugestão da atividade, podia-se também o AIDUA propor que os partidos políticos que cá estão tivessem uma pequena verba para elaborarem alguns projetos que beneficiassem suas ligas e trouxessem um relatório a posterior dessa atividade. Muito obrigada.
The strategic plan is very vague. You know, in terms of strategic plans, if you really want to have an effective strategic plan, there are certain components that you need to have. But before I get to that, I would just want to add on what Jonas said in terms of virtual, right? Why do you meet every year for an annual conference? But I think as young people, we need to now sit and have honest conversations about this organization. What are the impacts that you want to have on the continent? As young people, we need to come together and sit and say, what are some of the things that you are taking away from these conferences, and how then are you implementing it in your respective countries? We cannot come every year to an annual conference and have discussions, but there is no performance metrics that is being used to see how far have we fared with the discussions had at the annual conference. We also need to take into consideration the economic climate of the world and the finances and the resources that are being invested in these conferences. This strategic plan, for example, you know, there needs to be a communication plan, there needs to be risk management. It's just the same as whenever you do policy, you know, there are certain things that you need to have a strong policy so that you can identify loopholes. Or when you do, for example, opposition targets or whatnot. You know, when you read policies, there are certain things that you look into a policy. So you need to have the implementation timeline, which is the monitoring and evaluation, the performance metrics that I mentioned, resource allocation, and risk management. So I think as the board or as the Waidua organization, you really need to go back, sit with this, like Augusta said, sit with this strategic plan so that you can have a strong strategic plan so that the implementation of that plan can be effective. The other thing that I also want to say is that we need to now sit as young people and see what is it that we want for Young Dua. How do you become relevant on the political front? How do you become relevant in your respective countries? Does your young people from your respective parties know about Young Dua? Does your young people know about the objectives, the vision, the mission of Young Dua? How then can we have young people to take part in these dialectical conversations to bring them to these tables? Rhetoric gets you into the room, but action keeps you. So we cannot water down politics to just rhetoric, but there needs to be coordinated and strategic actions associated to these conferences. So I think as Young Dua, we really need to sit down, be honest about how far we've come, be honest about how far we want to go, and certain things that we need to implement to make it a strong organization, to make it a relevant organization on the political front. That is all. Thank you.
Around the room, one thing I didn't see it in the strategic plan that is per law is the biannual conference. And it is within the constitution that we should organize a biannual conference. So if I don't see it in the strategic plan, at least I saw the annual one. I hope we are not going to go against our constitution. I think this is something that we didn't achieve in 2023. And I think most of the issues that we have around Waidua is because we are not meeting regularly, or we are not having different engagements regularly to discuss the different challenges we have around the room. And then I see the strategic plan says from 2023 to 2025. But then the activity you have in the strategic plan is from 2023 to 2024. So if the strategic plan is for 3 years, that means your activities outlined should have been for the 3 years. I know, it should have been for the 3 years. You probably stopped at 2024, maybe with the assumption that your term is a 2 years term. But if your plan says 2023 to 2024, it should have been, the activity should have been from 2023 to 2024. So I hope the committee can go back to take that into consideration. And then I also want to suggest that we have time for regular meetings. Let's have regular online engagement so that we can know the different challenges we have in our different political parties, so that we don't come to just conferences and listen to all of the stories around the room. I don't think that has solved our problems over the years. So I think we should have more engagement, and that can be easy by online. And some of the activities you conducted for 2023, for example, the X Space on Twitter, I think we can also be able to implement some of them in 2024, because the social media is not something to joke with. Social media have helped a lot of different institutions around the world, and I think we should not joke with our social media engagement. Thank you very much. One last thing, sorry. One last thing, and I would want to suggest that we set up a small committee that will go back and work on the strategic plan so that it can be more basic to what we want to achieve. Thank you very much.
The Constitution and Strategic Plan. I think here we have English speakers, French, Portuguese, and Spanish. And Swahili, eh? Yes. So I think all these two documents are supposed to be translated to Portuguese, French, and other language, and other official languages, international languages. That's very important, including Swahili. So that's my comment. Now, at this point, allow me to welcome Kiria on behalf of the executive to respond on some issues so that we can proceed with the next session. Kiria.
This shows that actually it has really caught your attention and the eye. Let me start with Mr. Edgar, who say that actually most of the things are pending. Yes, I think you understand how the situation we were in after the elections. So it was not easy
to implement most of them smoothly as we could actually want. So because of that situation, some of the things could not actually, even us as the board members after the elections, it was not an easy thing actually to harmonize, just as you see us actually here. So it was not easy. So we took time in harmonizing, dialoguing between ourselves, so that because there is no way you can implement this when you're alone. And my leadership, I've actually clearly told my board that I'm not the one doing it. We are doing it as a team. So if the team is divided, we can't do anything. So that was the reason why most of the things are pending in that way. But I think by starting this year, we shall start now implementing things smoothly after the realizing of this. Madam Augusto is saying that actually we needed actually to look through, which we have done. But it is, we have launched it with approval, which we are going to get from this board.